There is a strange misconception in today's world. People think high-value men are loud. They think confidence means dominating every conversation. They think strength means constantly proving yourself. But if you study the men who command genuine respect, the men who lead companies, build families, create wealth, and influence others, you'll notice something different. Most of their greatest habits are invisible. They aren't posting every move. They aren't announcing every goal. They aren't seeking validation from strangers. Their power comes from what they consistently do when nobody is watching. The truth is that high-value men are often recognized not by what they say, but by what they quietly practice every single day. In this video, we're going to explore the silent habits that separate respected men from attention seekers. These habits aren't flashy. They don't generate instant applause, but over years they create extraordinary results. Let's begin. Habit number 1. They keep promises to themselves. Most people break promises to themselves daily. They say they'll wake up early. They don't. They say they'll exercise. They don't. They say they'll save money. They don't. Eventually something dangerous happens. They stop trusting themselves. A man who cannot trust his own word becomes weak internally. Every broken promise chips away at self-respect. High-value men understand this. That's why they start small. They don't rely on motivation. They build evidence. If they commit to reading 10 pages, they read 10 pages. If they commit to a workout, they complete it. If they commit to saving a certain amount, they do it. The habit isn't about the task. It's about strengthening the relationship with themselves. Because confidence isn't built by positive thinking. Confidence is built by keeping agreements with yourself. Habit number 2. They control their emotions. Notice something about highly respected men. They rarely react immediately. When criticized, they pause. When challenged, they pause. When insulted, they pause. This doesn't mean they are passive. It means they understand emotional control. Anyone can explode. Anyone can lose control. Anyone can let anger make decisions. But emotional discipline is rare. The strongest man in the room isn't necessarily the loudest. Often he's the calmest, because he knows that every emotional reaction has a cost. A careless outburst can destroy opportunities. A moment of anger can damage relationships. A few reckless words can ruin years of progress. High-value men understand that emotions are important signals, but they are terrible leaders. Habit number 3. They value their time. One of the clearest differences between successful men and average men is their relationship with time. Average men spend time. High-value men invest it. They understand that money lost can be earned again. Time cannot. This is why they become selective. Selective with conversations. Selective with entertainment. Selective with commitments. Selective with people. They don't say yes to everything. They don't attend every event. They don't chase every opportunity. Because they understand a powerful truth. Every yes is also a no. When you say yes to distractions, you say no to growth. When you say yes to procrastination, you say no to progress. Time management is really life management, and high-value men treat every hour as an asset. Habit number 4. They stay quiet about their goals. Many people love talking about what they're going to do. Few people actually do it. High-value men often move differently. Instead of announcing plans, they execute. Instead of seeking applause, they seek results. They understand something psychology has repeatedly shown. Talking excessively about goals can create a false sense of accomplishment. The brain begins rewarding the announcement instead of the achievement. So they remain focused, silent, patient. They let outcomes speak. Because results create a stronger reputation than promises ever will. Habit number 5. They read more than they argue. A common trait among average men is the desire to win arguments. A common trait among exceptional men is the desire to learn. High-value men understand that knowledge compounds. Every book, every lesson, every experience, every mentor, every failure adds to their understanding. They don't assume they know everything. In fact, the wiser they become, the more aware they are of how much remains unknown. This humility gives them an advantage, because while others are busy defending opinions, they are acquiring skills. And skills create leverage. Habit number 6. They take responsibility. Responsibility is becoming increasingly rare. Blaming circumstances is easy. Blaming parents is easy. Blaming society is easy. Blaming luck is easy. But none of those things improve your life. High-value men ask a different question. Instead of asking, "Who's at fault?" they ask, "What can I do now?" This mindset creates power, because responsibility shifts focus from excuses to solutions. Even when something isn't their fault, they still take ownership of the response. That is maturity. That is leadership. That is strength. Habit number 7. They are comfortable being alone. Many people fear solitude. High-value men use it. They understand the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is feeling disconnected. Solitude is choosing reflection. The ability to sit alone with your thoughts is a superpower, because clarity rarely comes from noise. It comes from silence. It comes from reflection. It comes from honest self-assessment. Men who constantly need distraction often avoid confronting themselves. High-value men do the opposite. They regularly step away from the noise and evaluate their lives. Habit number 8. They protect their reputation. Reputation takes years to build and minutes to destroy. High-value men understand this deeply. That's why they avoid unnecessary drama. They avoid dishonesty. They avoid reckless behavior, not because they are perfect, but because they understand consequences. Trust is one of the most valuable currencies in life. When people trust your word, opportunities appear, relationships strengthen, leadership becomes possible, respect grows, and trust is built quietly through consistent behavior. Habit number 9. They invest in their health. A weak body eventually limits a strong mind. High-value men understand that health influences everything. Energy, focus, productivity, confidence, discipline, relationships, performance. That's why exercise becomes more than fitness. It becomes self-respect. Proper sleep becomes a priority. Nutrition becomes intentional. Movement becomes non-negotiable. Because they know that success built on poor health eventually collapses. Habit number 10. They delay gratification. Modern society rewards immediate pleasure. High-value men practice delayed gratification. While others spend, they invest. While others quit, they continue. While others seek comfort, they pursue growth. This habit creates a powerful advantage over time. The willingness to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow separates achievers from dreamers. Most people overestimate what can happen in a month, but underestimate what can happen in 10 years. High-value men think long-term. Habit number 11. They listen more than they speak. People reveal themselves when they talk. High-value men know this. Instead of dominating conversations, they observe. They listen. They ask thoughtful questions. They pay attention. Listening provides information. Information creates understanding. Understanding creates influence. And influence is far more powerful than attention. Habit number 12. They don't seek constant validation. One of the biggest traps for modern men is dependence on external approval. Likes, comments, recognition, praise. These things feel good. But when self-worth depends on them, freedom disappears. High-value men derive confidence from competence. They know who they are. They know what they stand for. They know what they're building. As a result, they don't need constant reassurance. Their identity comes from within, not from the crowd. Habit number 13. They build before they display. Many people want the appearance of success. High-value men focus on creating actual success. They build skills before status, character before image, assets before luxury, knowledge before recognition, because they understand a simple principle. Substance lasts longer than appearance. The foundation matters more than the spotlight. Habit number 14. They master consistency. Motivation comes and goes. Consistency remains. High-value men don't rely on feeling inspired. They rely on systems, daily habits, repeated actions, small improvements, again and again. Year after year, what appears extraordinary from the outside often comes from ordinary actions. repeated for a very long time. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is powerful. Habit number 15. They focus on what they can control. There will always be things outside your control. The economy, the weather, other people's opinions, unexpected setbacks. High-value men refuse to waste energy fighting reality. Instead, they focus on their effort, their attitude, their preparation, their discipline, their response. This mindset creates resilience, because life becomes less about circumstances and more about choices. Conclusion: the silent habits of high-value men aren't secret. They're simply uncommon. Keeping promises to yourself, controlling emotions, valuing time, protecting your reputation, investing in your health, practicing discipline, taking responsibility, remaining focused. These habits rarely attract immediate attention, but over years they create something far more valuable than attention. They create character, and character is what sustains success when everything else fades. The world often celebrates noise, but real strength is usually quiet. Real discipline is usually invisible. Real growth happens behind the scenes. So if you want to become a high-value man, don't focus on looking successful. Focus on becoming the kind of man who quietly does what needs to be done. Day after day, year after year, eventually the results will speak for themselves.